In a quaint village, nestled at the edge of a dense, whispering forest, three brothers, Roshan, Sammy, and Dammy, lived in a modest cottage inherited from their late parents. Known for their honesty, hard work, and kindness, they earned a living by chopping wood in the forest and selling it at the market. Yet, despite their simple contentment, an unspoken emptiness lingered in their hearts, a quiet yearning for something more. One chilly evening, as the brothers warmed themselves by a crackling fire, Roshan gazed into the flames, his voice soft but heavy. "What is the true purpose of life?" he mused. After a thoughtful pause, he added, "I think I'd be happy with a grand, beautiful house." Sammy nodded slowly, his eyes tracing the shadows on the cottage walls. "For me, it's a vast farm with endless crops, no more toiling day in and day out." Dammy, the youngest, grinned dreamily. "I just want a loving, beautiful wife who waits eagerly for me each day." Though their dreams differed, the ache of emptiness bound them together. One twilight, as the brothers trudged home from the forest, their arms laden with logs, they spotted an old man slumped by the roadside, a heavy basket of apples at his side. His face was etched with exhaustion, yet his eyes held a quiet strength. Moved by compassion, the brothers set down their loads and hurried to him. "Grandfather, may we carry your basket?" they asked warmly. The old man's weathered face softened with a grateful smile. "Thank you, sons. My home isn't far." The basket was heavier than they'd imagined, and the winding path tested their strength. Yet they carried on without complaint, and when they reached his humble dwelling, a strange sense of peace settled over them, as if the act of kindness had lightened their own burdens. The old man's eyes gleamed with warmth. He said, "Your kindness is rare. You're hardworking and sincere, qualities that open new doors. Tell me, what are your greatest wishes?" Hesitant at first, the brothers shared their dreams. Roshan's grand house, Sammy's sprawling farm, and Dammy's loving, beautiful wife. The old man listened intently, then spoke with quiet confidence. "Your dreams are within reach. A wealthy businessman in the next town seeks honest, diligent men. Work hard for him, and he'll reward you generously, paving the way to your desires." Eager for change, the brothers set out for the town. Roshan, with his sharp mind, managed the businessman's affairs with skill, soon saving enough to build his dream house, a towering mansion of elegance. Sammy's knowledge of land impressed a local landlord, who gifted him fertile fields for farming. Dammy's kindness won the heart of the businessman's daughter, and they married in a joyful ceremony. At first, their lives brimmed with excitement, their dreams fulfilled beyond imagination. But as months turned to a year, the shine of their achievements dulled. Roshan's mansion, once a source of pride, felt cold and empty. He withdrew from his servants, and the grand halls echoed with loneliness. Sammy, overwhelmed by the demands of his vast farm, lay awake at night, haunted by fears of pests and storms. Dammy, once enchanted by his wife's beauty, grew irritated by her complaints. The warmth of their love faded to routine. Once again, the brothers felt the familiar ache of emptiness. Their dreams, now reality, had brought fleeting joy, but not lasting happiness. Desperate for answers, they sought the old man. After a long search, they found him in his cozy home, warming his hands by a flickering fire. Its glow seemed to banish their despair, if only for a moment. "Grandfather," Roshan pleaded, "our wishes came true, but we're still not happy. What are we missing?" The old man's smile was gentle, his voice steady as the fires crackle. "Sons, true happiness doesn't come from what you gain. It comes from being grateful for what you already have. Without gratitude, even the grandest dreams lose their light." The brothers fell silent, his words piercing their hearts. The old man continued, "Gratitude is the key to joy. Cherish what you have. Find delight in the moment, and happiness will follow naturally." As they left his home, a weight lifted from their spirits. Roshan began to see his mansion as a place of warmth and possibility, inviting friends to fill its halls with laughter. Sammy learned to celebrate each harvest, finding peace in the rhythm of the seasons. Dammy rediscovered his love for his wife, embracing her quirks with renewed affection. Their lives transformed, not because their circumstances changed, but because their perspective did.
Have you ever found yourself, in a place where, okay, on the surface, everything seems pretty much exactly what you thought you wanted? Like maybe you've ticked off those big life goals, you've done what you set out to do, and yet there's this, I don't know, this quiet, almost like an unspoken emptiness. It's this kind of nagging feeling, isn't it? A yearning for something more. It's a feeling I think a lot of us know. That sort of mismatch where the life you've built doesn't quite fill the space you expected.
It really is a modern paradox, isn't it? We have so much to achieve so much, but still,
Yeah.
that feeling. And this deep dive, it's not just about like defining happiness in the abstract. It's about tackling that exact paradox. We're asking, is it the stuff around us, our
Yes.
circumstances, or is it more about how we see things, our internal lens, basically? Which one truly shapes our joy?
Exactly. So our mission today really is to figure out how maybe just a shift in perspective, not changing everything outside, how that simple shift could be the actual key to finding, real lasting joy. We'll explore how things like kindness, just simple acts, and really understanding gratitude, how that can genuinely transform things.
Yeah, and to help us kind of unpack all this, we're looking at insights from, well, timeless philosophy, some modern psychology, and it's all brought to life by this fantastic narrative called The Three Brothers' Quest for Gratitude. It's more than just a story, really. It feels like a perfect case study. It shows that whole journey, right? From wanting something to maybe getting it and feeling let down, and then finally finding real fulfillment. And honestly, this pattern shows up in so many other sources we looked at.
Okay, so let's get into the story. It starts in this really charming place, a quaint village right next to a deep whispering forest. And here we meet the three brothers, Roshan, Sammy, and Dammy. They live together in this modest cottage.
They sound like good guys, known for honesty, hard work, and kindness. They earn their keep by chopping wood in the forest.
Seems pretty idyllic, right? A quiet, decent life.
It does sound like it, yeah. But right away, the story gives us this really crucial, relatable detail. Despite being hardworking, having what seems like simple contentment, the narrative points out they share this unspoken emptiness, this quiet yearning for something more. And it's not about being poor or lacking essentials. It's deeper. It's that sort of existential ache, I think, that hits home for a lot of us, even when things are technically good.
Right, and what was that something more for each of them? Because it wasn't the same thing. For Roshan, the oldest, he dreamt of a grand, beautiful house. So for him, it was about material success, maybe a visible sign he'd made it. Sammy, the middle one, he wanted a vast farm with endless crops. His motivation seems different, like wanting to escape the daily grind, the toiling day in and day out. Freedom, maybe, self-sufficiency. And then Dammy, the youngest. His dream was simple but profound. A loving, beautiful wife who waits eagerly for me each day. Companionship, love, connection. Very human.
And these aren't just random wishes, are they? If you think about it, security, success, freedom from toil, love. These are fundamental human drives. Things society often tells us should make us happy if we achieve them. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Which of those?
If any resonates with you, or what's your own personal something more? And maybe even what's the real need behind that wanting?
Okay, so these brothers, they've got their dreams, they've got this shared yearning, and then comes a turning point. One evening, heading home, tired, carrying logs, they see an old man slumped by the roadside. He's got this heavy basket of apples beside him, looks totally wiped out. And they don't hesitate. They put down their own heavy stuff, go over and just offer, "Grandfather, may we carry your basket?" Like, it's just pure compassion, isn't it? No thought of reward. They're tired, too.
It is, and this is where the story starts to get really interesting, I think, because the immediate effect of that kindness is fascinating. The story says the basket was heavier than they'd imagined, the path was tough, winding, a real effort, but they kept going without complaint. And here's the key part. Even before any reward, a strange sense of peace settled over them. It felt like helping them somehow lighten their own burdens. And, that's not just poetic license. Science actually backs this up. Acts of kindness, altruism, they can release dopamine, oxytocin, chemicals that make you feel good, an intrinsic reward.
Yeah, you feel it right away. And the old man, he saw it too. His weathered face softened with a grateful smile. He saw their inherent kindness, their hardworking nature, their sincerity. He really looked at them. He tells them these qualities, they open new doors. And when they share their dreams, the house, the farm, the wife, he gives them what sounds like, well, pretty solid advice for getting what they want.
It seems like the perfect solution, initially. He says, a wealthy businessman in the next town seeks honest, diligent men.
Yeah.
Work hard for him, and he'll reward you generously, paving the way to your desires. I mean, it sounds straightforward, right? A clear path. Work hard, get rewarded, achieve dreams, be happy. The standard formula.
And they do it. They follow the advice. The story shows them working diligently. Roshan, being sharp, managed the businessman's affairs with skill, earns enough, builds his towering mansion of elegance. Dream 1, check. Sammy's knowledge of land impresses a landlord who gifted him fertile fields for farming. Dream 2, check. And Dammy, with his kindness, he wins the heart of the businessman's own daughter. They have a joyful ceremony. Dream 3, check. So at first, yeah, their lives were buzzing, brimmed with excitement. Their dreams came true, even beyond imagination. Seems like a happy ending, but I sense a but coming.
Precisely. There's always a but, isn't there? This is where it gets really relatable, maybe a little uncomfortable. Because as the months turn to a year, the story says the shine of their achievements dulled. That initial excitement wore off. And then, that familiar ache of emptiness crept back in. They got what they wanted, but it only brought fleeting joy, not that deep, and lasting happiness they were really after. It's a classic case of what psychologists call hedonic adaptation. You get the thing, feel great for a bit, but then your happiness level just resets back to baseline. It really makes you question what happens when the prize doesn't deliver the promised payoff. Not because it's bad, but because we adapt.
Wow, yeah, hedonic adaptation. And the story gets specific about how it hit each brother, which makes it even more powerful. Roshan, in his amazing mansion, it felt cold and empty.
Yeah.
He started pulling away from people, withdrew from his servants. Those grand halls echoed with loneliness. His dream house, ironically, made him isolated. Sammy, who wanted freedom from toil on his farm, he got overwhelmed by the demands of it, couldn't sleep, haunted by fears of pests and storms. His dream of ease became this huge source of anxiety. And Dammy, who dreamt of love, he started getting irritated by her complaints. The romance faded into routine. The warmth of their love just cooled off. The things they chased ended up burdening them.
It's such a powerful illustration, isn't it? It directly challenges that assumption that just getting the external thing equals happiness.
Yeah.
I think we've all had moments like that, maybe on a smaller scale. You work so hard for something, finally get it, and there's that moment of, is this it? It's quite sobering. The story shows that the original unspoken emptiness, it wasn't really filled by the mansion or the farm or even the marriage. Maybe achieving those things just highlighted something else that was missing all along. It suggests the problem wasn't what they lacked externally, but maybe how they were relating to what they had internally. It really poses the question, how much of our dissatisfaction comes not from our situation, but from our perception of it?
So feeling that ache again, feeling let down by their own dreams, the brothers knew who to turn to. They felt desperate for answers. They went back to find the old man, found him in his simple, cozy home. Quite a contrast to their big, empty lives, like going back to the source.
Exactly. And this is where the story delivers its core message, the big reveal. It's something echoed in, well, so many wisdom traditions, and increasingly backed by psychology, too. The old man, with that gentle smile and steady voice, he tells them, sons, true happiness doesn't come from what you gain. It comes, he says, from being grateful for what you already have. That's a complete 180 from their initial chase, isn't it? He's not telling them to get more or different things. He's telling them to look at what they have differently.
Yeah, and he really hammers home the consequence of not doing that. He says, without gratitude, even the grandest dreams lose their light. It's like saying our mindset, our internal state, is what gives value to the external stuff. The mansion isn't inherently empty. Their perception made it feel that way.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating is this shift from getting stuff to appreciating stuff. That's huge in positive psychology. Research actually shows that practicing gratitude, actively doing it, can literally change your brain chemistry. It can stimulate parts that regulate stress, boost dopamine. It makes you feel better. It's not just thinking nice thoughts, it's an active mental reframing. So the old man's definition is clear. Gratitude is the key to joy. Cherish what you have, find delight in the moment, and happiness will follow naturally. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we just overlook the good stuff we already have because we're so busy chasing the next thing? And in doing so, we kind of dim the value of what we work so hard for.
That feels like the real turning point, the game changer. And the story shows them actually applying this, not by getting rid of the mansion or the farm, but by changing how they saw them, their perspective. Roshan, for instance, stopped seeing the mansion as cold and lonely. He reframed it as a place of warmth and possibility. What did he do? He started inviting friends to fill its halls with laughter. He brought connection into it.
Right. He changed its meaning through action based on gratitude. And Sammy, instead of being crushed by the farm's demands, he shifted his focus. He learned to celebrate each harvest, finding peace in the rhythm of the seasons. He started appreciating the process, the abundance, the cycle, not just worrying about future problems. It was a shift from fear to appreciation of the present.
And Dammy, who'd grown irritated with his wife, he didn't look elsewhere. He rediscovered his love for his wife. How? By embracing her quirks with renewed affection. He chose to see her through that lens of gratitude again, remembering why he loved her, actively appreciating her, quirks and all, rekindling the warmth.
It's such a perfect example of cognitive reframing, the power of changing your internal narrative. Their lives genuinely transformed. Why? Not because their circumstances changed, but because their perspective did. Their perception shifted. It shows that real, deep happiness, it wasn't in the big achievements themselves. Instead, the story says, it blooms in the quiet act of gratitude and cherishing each moment as it comes. And that realization brought them a joy that no dream could rival, contentment from the inside out, basically.
So let's bring this back. What does this story, this journey of the three brothers mean for you, listening right now? We've seen them go from yearning to getting their dreams, feeling empty, and then finally finding real joy through gratitude. The message seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Happiness might be less about having more and more, about appreciating more. It's about that internal lens.
Yeah, maybe take a second to think about your own life. When have you felt genuinely content, really at peace? Was it always right after hitting some huge goal? Or were those moments sometimes simpler? Appreciating something small, a connection, a quiet moment, something you might normally just overlook. Often, our best memories aren't about the big wins, but about those moments of simple appreciation.
So here's the provocative thought to leave you with, building on this story. If we really took to heart this idea that maybe deep fulfillment, lasting joy, isn't something we need to chase externally, that maybe it's already here, just waiting for us to shine the light of gratitude on it. What's one single thing in your life right now, something maybe overlooked, taken for granted, that you could choose consciously to cherish and find delight in? What routine, what relationship, what part of your day could you reframe with gratitude right now? How might that shift your perspective, maybe unlocking a kind of joy that no external achievement, no matter how grand, could ever really match? Something to think about.